What if the person you are right now is not who you were meant to be, but simply who you got used to being? We spend years defending personality traits we never consciously chose, as if changing them would betray some sacred, untouchable self. What if the most radical act of self-respect is daring to ask, could I actually become someone better? Olga Khazan is an award-winning journalist at The Atlantic, known for her sharp, research-driven storytelling that bridges science and everyday human struggle. In this book, she embarks on a deeply personal experiment, spending months deliberately trying to reshape her own personality, guided by psychology and behavioral science. Written in an era when self-help culture has never been louder or more contradictory, this book cuts through the noise with honesty and rigor. The first powerful idea the book confronts is the myth of the fixed self. The belief that personality is a locked vault rather than a living, breathing system. Modern psychology increasingly shows that traits like introversion, anxiety, and agreeableness exist on spectrums and can genuinely shift with intentional effort and repeated experience. This is not about faking who you are. It is about understanding that who you are has always been more fluid than you were told, and that realization opens an entirely new kind of door. The second theme digs into the uncomfortable tension between self-acceptance and self-improvement, a contradiction that quietly haunts modern wellness culture. Kazan wrestles with the question of whether wanting to change yourself means you have failed to love yourself, and what she finds is far more nuanced than either extreme allows. True self-compassion, the book suggests, might actually look like holding yourself accountable to growth rather than endlessly validating the patterns that hold you back. And that distinction changes everything about how we pursue change. The most emotionally resonant theme of the book is the courage it takes to act like a different person before you feel like one, to behave your way into a new identity rather than waiting for some internal transformation to arrive first. Kazan discovers that the feelings of authenticity we crave often come after the behavior, not before it, which means the discomfort of change is not a sign you are doing something wrong, but a sign you are doing something real. This is the book's quiet revolution, that the self you most want to become is already accessible, waiting just on the other side of one uncomfortable action. What this book ultimately holds up is a mirror, not to show you who you are, but to ask whether you have ever truly examined who you are becoming by default. We drift into habits, identities, and emotional patterns the way rivers drift into riverbeds, carved by repetition rather than intention. Kazan's work invites us to ask a quietly profound question. If you could design yourself with the same care you give your goals, your career, or your relationships, what would you actually choose? If this exploration of identity and intentional change resonated with you, drop a comment below. What is one trait you have always wanted to shift, and what has held you back from trying? If you want to keep exploring books that challenge how we see ourselves, you might love our breakdown of Atomic Habits or The Personality Brokers next. Subscribe if you want more thoughtful deep dives like this one. We would love to have you here.